Voices of Women Worldwide. The what of the wow.
The what of the wow. The
what
vow of the wow.
The vow and the wow. Session time since June 5th and the acceleration of Venus since 9 years. She's really counting on us.
Yes.
To do some wondrous, amazing things.
She's in a planning phase right now. She's retrograde. We should time ourselves with that.
Do you propose the planning process look like for something as magnificent of an assignment as this?
Tiny, small, and huge, big at the same time. And think about giving voices to women all over the world, not only for their own communities, but to connect women all over the world for issues that are not being dealt with in our world, and to empower women all over the world to feel that we have such a voice that we haven't even realized yet. And that's really what excites me when I think about, the earthquake potential in Japan that is not being dealt with by the government of Japan and other governments. It feels like to me women all over the world uniting in some way would be a force that had to be dealt with. Do you like that idea of starting little on one side and thinking big on the other? Because I think if we can stay very specific, we can build toward a performance. My experience with producing, as yours probably is too, it's a lot of detail.
It's keep us on track. It's of women's voices. I'd like to get back to that because I feel that is where your spirit is grounded in. Some more attention to what you're tapping into from the universal women's voices right now. What would that be?
As a way of going to the universal thinking, Japan is built on volcanic plates. It was a crazy place to put a country in the first place. And it's not just going to affect Japan if that inevitability happens, that there's more rumbling and more earthquakes. And I feel that women of the world are the people that are going to finally say enough. The governments are not moving quick enough. Women care about children. Who is protesting in Japan right now? I bet you 95%
But listen,
are women.
It's really extraordinary. Isn't it amazing that certain cultures, and to be respectful of all women and all cultures in me sharing this, that a woman must cover her mouth and her face to smile if she's laughing or speaking, to cover up her joy, cover up her true expression. So if there are certain cultures where a woman her mouth cannot represent the truth, and her mouth must be covered up to not speak, it makes us even stronger and more on the front lines with the work that we must do. And I feel specifically in Japan, Voices of Women Worldwide has to have a bigger voice.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Yes, please.
The way it's been handled, let's not alarm people. Well, I feel that if all the women on both levels, all the women PhDs and scientists and engineers all over the world got together and made it something that they really focused on. And also, what I thought, and I don't know whether this is maybe naive on my part, but I was thinking that disempowered women unifying all over the world about issues that are not part of their small villages, but are part of this globe, so that we are a force that brings women's eyes out of the small confines cultures that they come from, and joining together. It was just a daring thought to feel the power of women all over this world, and that we could perhaps become that necklace that connects. And it can be about issues that are not just, that are of course about survival and food and child rearing and education and housing, but also about our shared dominion over this planet, and that women would care for Mother Earth and become a force.
In Voices of Women Worldwide, assist in that self-determination process, whether it's radio series working with Aboriginal young women around the world on a nationwide level, or radio and different types of media here, and then getting that around the world in the different films that we foresee.
In two ways. In the one way, I wanted to just realize together that women all over the planet have shared values. Women are about life and about children and about taking care. So if there's a way that we can find women from different cultures and different languages to be able to hear each other, I feel that would be very exciting. In terms of media, when you think about it, even the website of Voices of Women Worldwide and the way that you're using it, that Facebook quality where people are speaking with each other, the potency of that, I was just amazed to think what we could really do if we start thinking in that way, and you already are. So just to go further and to think about some of the issues facing the planet that we want to take on, not just, I mean, that's why I feel the arc of both the very day-to-day issues that are facing women all over the world in different cultures, in different ways, and then the shared planet that we have and how we can find that connection that's so natural to women. You don't have to wonder what a woman cares about in a certain way. You don't have to wonder whether she's Republican or Democrat. Women care about life. For women to be empowered to care beyond their own concerns. And I feel will help them with their own as well, because it's an empowerment. I know it's a daring thought, but it just seems like it's time. We can't just sit by. I mean, what's happening in Fukushima is just like, are we going to wait for someone to decide that they really should deal with this?
Consortium or seminar,
Right.
possibly hosted by yours truly or
Yeah.
a woman from Oxford. Possibly we'll speak to a wonderful newscaster that I was mentioning earlier in this discussion and ask him to assist us in the most noble and ways that he could be on the highest level and see how to get Voices of Women Worldwide to immediately
Yes.
address that issue. To me,
Right.
that's number one.
I agree.
Because without addressing that, we lose our plant source, our food source, our flowers, our flower medicine, our botanical herbs.
Addressing that, you mean Fukushima or just?
It's number one.
I agree, and I'm really glad that we are talking about that. And I don't
That's
think it's an
number
either
one.
or in terms of
No,
doing
it
our
isn't.
thing.
We're going to do the concert,
Yes.
and this concert is wondrous, and it's going to happen in its most astonishing way, and it'll be done well with people who really understand management and production and all of the magic that you need. But for this, we need women that are really grounded and deeply rooted in clarity and truth, and that have the connections that they can galvanize the forces and the voices of women worldwide to present it at an international forum right across the street.
Right.
And we take that voice right across the street to the General Assembly. That's what I say we do.
In focus already with women, Voices of Women Worldwide, and then create a concert that has elements of film, talking about some of the issues, and also performance elements. Because I personally feel the arts are a very crucial part of life, and that's another thing that's been devalued tremendously right now in the education focus in this country, for one. And every culture that we might speak of has its own indigenous art, and I would like to see if we can feature that and also ennoble and honor those people through their arts as well as their stories.
Well, I know that Association of Women for the Arts is very interested, and it's one of our founding principles and one of our guiding principles that allows us to create and produce and work with some awesome artists, women artists
Right.
from around the world. So we're already doing that, and we're very happy to learn how to do some of these very serious matters, but kind of mix them in a way that are
Palatable. And inspiring. And not to be so much looking back on some of the hardships, but really looking forward to the empowerment.
And I think thinking about voiceless and hopelessness and empowerment, I don't know if there's a gong big enough for us to bang. The greatest instrument that we have is human attunement. And how do we attune or get the energy level of all these women, because they do feel powerless. They do feel hopeless. They do feel isolated, and they do feel disempowered. So in something that's so critical as the nuclear power plant,
Right.
that nobody is paying proper,
Correct attention to.
correct attention
Exactly.
to, even if one of us or the three of us bring in those energies that are needed to get it brought to the table. I think it should be brought to The Hague, to an international court.
I agree.
And I think that the matter, because that's their own land and their own protective land over there. So if they, on their land, that kingdom, they don't want to share it or talk about it with anyone, they don't have to. But if it's mandated by an international court,
Exactly.
like The Hague, then they have to pay attention to
Because
it.
this has consequences way beyond one country.
So then we could bring it to the Hague Appeal for Peace
Good.
at an